The last topic that we will look at in section 3.6 is the decomposition of functions. To decompose a function means that you break it down into simpler functions. It is important to understand that there are many possible solutions when you're working with a decomposition problem. Let's begin with an example. Decompose the function f of x is equal to the absolute value of x squared minus 3 plus 2 into a composition of two functions. What we want to do is first notice which basic function our function is built off of. And that function in this case would be the absolute value function. So I'm going to go ahead and say that one of my functions, we'll call it, don't call it f since our original function is f, let's call it g. So our function g is going to be the absolute value of x. Now let's consider how we're going to get x squared minus 3 inside the absolute value. So if I were to make function h x squared minus 3 and compose it g composed with h, that would require that I take function h and insert it into function g, which would give me essentially this part done correctly. So what do we do about the plus 2? What if we add the plus 2 on right here? And let's check that and see if that works. So if I have my h of x being equal to x squared minus 3, and we compose that into function g. So in function g, we're going to put x squared minus 3 in for this x. We would get back our original function f. And so this is one way to decompose the given function into two simpler functions. Let's try one more. Let's say that our function f that we want to decompose looks like the cubed root of 5x squared minus 1. So again, look at your problem and try to determine which basic function your new function is built off of. And so the one that I see first off is the cubed root function. So I'm going to let one of my functions be the cubed root of x. And again, how am I going to change this x to a 5x squared minus 1? I'm going to let my second function be that 5x squared minus 1, and I'm going to set up my composition g composed with h. You should always check to be sure that you have actually done what you set out to do. Function h is 5x squared minus 1. We're going to go to function g and put that in for the x, which would give us the cubed root of 5x squared minus 1. And so again, that is one way to decompose that function.